I think it's about time I get around to cleaning up this old K&T Vise. So I got this vise off of a swap and sell publication here in Maine called Uncle Henry's. Anyhow, I got it for $20. And it's actually not in that bad a shape. It does have some cutter marks on the jaws, nothing too severe, but of course it's very dirty. Unfortunately, I don't have the handle, which maybe we'll make one. But I think I'm just gonna, I've had this for a while and I've had it sitting on my SIP drill press here, which is way overkill for this little drill press. Save the milling vise for doing actual milling. However, it's going to be a big teardown. I hope you guys enjoy watching this. I'm going to put it in, a lot of it in time lapse, where you'll see the transformation as I disassemble everything, inspect it, paint it, put it back together, and put her back into service. This is just a degreaser. I'm gonna soak this for a while. You can see it's cleaning up pretty good. I used a wire wheel, not on any of the important surfaces, only along the edges where there's junk and gunk and all that to clean things up. Now that we're getting into surfaces that matter, I'm gonna switch over to steel wool and WD-40 and I'm gonna polish this all up. Even though this is not a jaw surface, it does matter that that stays nice. I'm gonna use steel wool there. Here, it's pretty much all clean. Okay, so that's the process. That's how I usually do it. And when I'm done with this side completely, I'm gonna flip it over. We'll do the same thing on the bottom side, and then we're gonna paint this. And I talked with one of my sons this morning, and I'm like, hey, what should we paint the K&T Vise? Should we go with the kind of the machine gray like on the Bridgeport, or blue like the Kurt, or what? And we decided, you know what? Let's just not worry about making it original. It's not ever going to be a showpiece. Let's just paint it black. So we're going to paint a gloss of black on this, and I think it'll look pretty cool when it's all finished. Back to the cleaning table. We are going to finish up with these parts here. I'm going to drop these in the parts wash tank, let them soak for a couple hours while I'm working on the other stuff. I've got her torqued down on the Bridgeport, And what I'm finding on the Bridgeport is, luckily, our worst fears are not realized, because when it is clamped down, it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be from the low spots on the bottom. Now, this makes, we have to have a decision to be made, because there's still wear all over this vise. Now, the mating piece that we haven't touched yet to clean on video, that's matched to this. So as your vise jaw is moving, everything's staying parallel and square and all of that stuff. So what we got here is, let me reset my dial. Okay, I'm at 0 here, and whoop, you can see there's already movement. So in the center here, I'm at 1.5, plus 1.5. But then back to the edge, I'm about 1/2 thousandths. Now if I've tried this at different spots where would be a lot less wear. You know, up at this side, where the jaw protects it. So make sure now look at here. Where the jaw protects it, we're going to set a 0. We're under 1/2 thousandths difference. And the head has been trimmed really well. So, as I sweep, you find some areas of high and low. Now see, from there to there, about the full, close to the full travel of the vise, I'm down a little over 1 thousandths. So the decision would have to be made. If I really want this thing perfect, like better than 1 thousandths all over, which I'm sure it was better than that from the factory, I'm going to have to grind the bottom. I'm going to have to match this, but then I'm also going to have to match every other piece, make sure the jaw squareness all retains, and everything down below 1/1000th of an inch variation. I don't think I want to do that on this vise. This is a $20 vise. It's a backup vise. Anything I want to do really precision, I'm going to use my Kurt. So I think I'm going to be okay with this being out 1/1000th over the whole area for what it is. It has a lot of dings, a lot of beat up marks on it. Still a good vise, still for a lot of jobs that come through here, 1/1000th over a 6-inch span is not gonna blow a lot of the jobs I do, repair work jobs, things like that. However, when I get down to needing something more precision, I always go to my Kurt anyway. So that's my decision. I don't think I want to put the time into this to surface grind. I mean, I could surface grind this whole thing and try to match it, but to improve it beyond 1/1000th is going to take a lot of time, a lot of work, just not what I'm interested in doing with this particular vise. So let's continue on. We're going to keep cleaning everything else up. We're still going to make it as nice as we can. We're going to paint it, but we're not going to worry about the 1/1000th variation. Let's try another test. So I'm going to put a parallel on here. And essentially what we're going to do is the same thing. By clamping the milling vise to the Bridgeport, I was able to check if the low spots on the bottom of the vise were going to impact the accuracy of the vise itself. And we found out that, you know, there was like a 1/1000th wear variation across here that I was like, well, I think I can live with it. And then I thought, well, let's put a parallel in there. Assuming most of my vise work is going to be on a parallel, now let's see if there's a big difference. So, I've got my 0 set. And you can see this time, we're not even at a 1/1000th variation. So just like the wear on the bottom was, you know, you could live with it when it was clamped to the table, with a parallel in here, you're spreading out the surface area, and it's helping to save any problems that was from individual wear in there. I want to check it up here too, just for curiosity. And then we'll check it the other way, 90 degrees. Just thought it would be an interesting test. Okay, we're at 0. Again, below 1/2 thousand. I could get out a better indicator, but for this, milling on a Bridgeport, you know, Bridgeport's accurate, but it's not super accurate anyways. This is improving my confidence in this vise. We're going to test it on the outside edge now. Okay, now here, I've got 1/1000ths. So yeah, this isn't worth my time to regrind this to fight over a 1/1000th difference over a 6" by 6" area. That's probably, I mean, trying to fight that beyond there is not worth it using a Bridgeport and using a very worn vise. I can always go to the Kurt if I want to improve the accuracy, and this is not directly testing the vise. This is testing the vise in use. I mean, we could have a small amount of variation on if the head is in tram. We could have small variation on the saddle of the Bridgeport. Does that have any wear? We're getting a combination of factors here, which is good to test because now I know if I'm using it, this is what it looks like in real life if I'm using it, not just in a gauge lab. So I know that I've got about a 1/1000th to maybe 1 1/4 thousandths variation using the parallel method to test over the whole surface area of the work on the vise. Here it is installed on the Bridgeport, and wait a minute, you're gonna say, what's all these chips on here? It's already dirty. As soon as I finished putting the vise back together, I needed it for a job. And it was a perfect chance to get to use it right after taking all that time to inspect it and power wire brush the hardware and paint it and all that stuff. And I needed to deck a exhaust manifold from a tractor, and this was the perfect setup to hold it. So great, it's back in service, it's making chips again, and that's, I'm sure, the kind of life that this thing would want to live. So thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe below, share these videos with your friends if you like them. Until next time, this is Jeremy at Hiltz Machine Works.